Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, I'm going to be showcasing some unbelievable plays and battles from this year 2024 Pokemon GO World Championships. Anytime you gather the best battlers in the world and make them face off, you're going to have some unforgettable moments, and this year's tournament was no exception. I already did a video showcasing some amazing plays from the world champion Yakai, so today I'm going to be showcasing some of the great plays from the rest of the tournament. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches and take a look at some unbelievable battles from the 2024 Pokemon GO World Championships. The first battle we'll be taking a look at is Marto versus Bastii. Bastii running a pretty standard meta team of 6, Marto going anti-meta with Whimsicott. It's a nightmare lead for Marto, leading Lickitung into Vigoroth. He's going to save switch into Water Gun Lantern, as Bastii does not have a hard counter to this Pokemon. Bastii will chip with a Body Slam, and then he can safely bring in the Lickitung. Since it is the Water Gun Lantern, he's unable to bring in Gligar. Marto desperately needs to flip switch in this game, because he has Whimsicott in the back as his third, but Bastii has that Gligar, and that is not a fun matchup for the Whimsicott. Bastii plays 2-way CMP tie here with the Power Whip, but the Surf is still not going to be enough to knock out. We're going to see the Power Whip fired off here. That's going to be no-shielded by Marto, and Marto brings back in his own Lickitung. Unfortunately, Lick double resisted here. It's only going to be doing 1 damage per lick, and Lickitung is known to have a pretty decent HP stat. Marto looks like he's going to full commit here, going to try and go for the double resisted farm down to get as much energy as he possibly can. Bastii able to reach Body Slam after Body Slam after Body Slam. Marto does not care. He's trying to exit this matchup with 100 energy. He needs to generate some kind of advantage. In comes the Vigoroth. Vigoroth to be met with the Body Slam. The no shield by Bastii as the Body Slam will connect. Marto going for yet another Body Slam, and again a no shield by Bastii. But look at the energy from this Lickitung, putting so much pressure onto that Vigoroth. Vigoroth forced to go down a shield, and at long last, Whimsicott enters the field of play. But in the back, that's not what it was hoping to see, as it will be the Gligar. Marto up a shield, but in a very difficult position. Whimsicott farming up a ton of energy at the back-to-back Seed Bombs. Moonblast not going to KO, so double Seed Bomb will be the way. Seed Bomb is going to connect, and we're going to see the Aerial Ace fired by Bastii and the second shield deployed by Marto. Marto is going to look to farm up to the back-to-back. He actually farms one past the back-to-back. That Whimsicott barely hanging on. Bastii saving the shield for the Vigoroth. In comes the Vigoroth, and Vigoroth forced to burn the shield. Marto will need a catch to try and win this. Marto perfectly predicts that he overfarms by 2. He gets the catch onto the Lickitung, but his Whimsicott might still get countered down. Whimsicott with 1 HP, able to hang on. Unbelievable. Marto is magic as he steals a game away from Bastii. The next match we'll be taking a look at is Juhsmuniz versus Serpanic-a-Lot. Serpanic-a-Lot already up 1-0, only needing 1 more win to advance in the tournament. But it's a negative lead, leading Charjabug into Lickitung. Lickitung does very well at beating Charjabug, as well as the Azumarill in the back, so Panic finds himself ABA weak to the lead, and this immediately puts him on the defensive. Body Slam will connect. He's going to farm up to an X-Scissor plus a Discharge, immediate no-shield from Juhsmuniz. He's going to save switch into Vigoroth. She's going to bank a Power Whip for later. Could have brought in the Azumarill, but instead, reading that the Azumarill could be valuable later on, chooses to bring in Vigoroth. And it definitely will be, considering that Serpanic brought his own Azumarill. We're going to see a shield from Serpanic. Serpanic is going to look to overfarm, not going to risk the farm down there, worried that she might be able to tank the counters, instead just going for the Body Slam. Body Slam is shielded, and Juhsmuniz makes it to a slam of her own. Serpanic-a-Lot lets it through, down goes Vigoroth, but he's just going to go for energy on this Charjabug. Charjabug has energy, in comes the Lickitung. He sends in the Azumarill, and Azumarill going to be met with a Power Whip. Serpanic-a-Lot with a decision to make shields at the last second and gets the shield call right. We're going to see a switch out now into the Azumarill, but here's the thing. By her staying in and going for a Power Whip, she desynced the switch timers. And that's something that Serpanic can take advantage of, because his switch clock is going to be up and she's still going to be switch locked into this matchup. So what he's going to have to do is bide his time, wait for her to throw her energy, because once she's thrown her energy, then it's Charjabug's time to strike. Play Rough will connect. His clock's up. He's gonna wait. She goes for the Play Rough, and now is his opportunity. His clock is up. Hers is not. He switches into the Charge-a-Bug, going for the discharge, very close to another. Juhsmuniz realizes she is unable to shield. She lets that go. He has the X-Scissor, the energy stored from earlier, pressuring the shield off of that Lickitung. Lickitung trying to farm up, just shy of the back-to-back body slams. This body slam will be able to pick up the knockout onto Charge-a-Bug, but Azumarill saved a charge attack from earlier. Beautiful example of taking advantage of the desync switch timers as Panic takes the 2-0 win. We now move to our next feature matchup, Adoquin versus Roacha Babyface. Terrible lead for Adoquin as he ends up leading a Skarmory into Charge-a-Bug. The Clodsire save switch met with a Whiscash. What can go wrong has gone wrong for Adoquin so far. The Earthquake connects. That hardly does any damage. Clodsire, known for its bulk, not its damage output. The Scald will connect, and more bad luck. The 30% attack drop comes through for Roacha. And Adoquin in a bad matchup, down shields and debuffed. An Earthquake won't even knock out here. Roacha realizes this. He's actually going to let this go. He's going to be able to make not just a Mud Bomb, but a Scald to fish for another debuff. And Adoquin is double shielding. He's putting all his hopes on winning switch advantage in this game. We're going to see Roacha give up switch. He brings in Azumarill, and Adoquin shaking his head as he fires off the debuffed Earthquake. Earthquake will connect. That does not do a lot of damage. Clodsire able to make one final charge attack, making it to the Stone Edge. Stone Edge also debuffed. Roacha is going to let that through, and now in comes Skarmory. Skarmory going to be met with the Ice Beam. This is open team sheet, so Adoquin is aware that Roacha does not have access to Hydro Pump. Roacha choosing to stay in this matchup for quite some time, going to fire off the Sky Attack and force the shield from the Azumarill. Azumarill going to throw one bubble and the Ice Beam. Again, this will not be enough to knock out. Roacha has the ability to switch, but here's the thing. He no longer has that 2-0 shield advantage. He's given up one shield. Now he gives up both shields, and that means Giratina is going to be in such a good spot in this endgame. Charge-a-Bug, all the energy in the world, but it's completely walled by the Giratina origin. And Adoquin is going to need a move to be able to get rid of that Azumarill later in the match. Giratina continues to farm. Another X-Scissor reached by Roacha. X-Scissor will connect, and Adoquin keeps farming. Another X-Scissor is reached. Will this be enough to knock out here? And Adoquin hit with the X-Scissor. It does not KO, and he's able to get the Shadow Ball plus the Ominous Wind. Shadow Ball KOs the Charge-a-Bug. In comes Azumarill with the Ice Beam loaded, but Giratina says no. Ominous Wind KOs the Azumarill as Adoquin snatches victory from the jaws of defeat. We now move to a winner-take-all decisive Game 3 matchup between Valiant Vish from Australia and Bulk from the United States. And it's a nightmare lead for Vish, trusting in his Altaria lead, but it's met with Azumarill, immediate switch out into Lickitung, and Bulk does not switch out. He has a couple answers to Lickitung on his team, but he chose to leave them on the bench. So instead, Azumarill is going to get some valuable chip damage with the Play Rough, and in comes Charge-a-Bug. Up this much energy, this is a potentially flippable matchup for Vish. Vish is going to spam out these body slams, Charge-a-Bug returning fire with the X-Scissors as the Volt switches get it ever closer to X-Scissor knockout range. But this Lickitung, just so much energy to work with, firing off body slam after body slam. Bulk with an O-Shield, he knows he can take one. Another X-Scissor. This is going to be getting the final shield as Vish will look to overfarm. Vish should be able to flip switch here. Vish accidentally mistimes it. He throws on turn 8 instead of turn 7. An entire Volt Switch sneaks. He goes for the catch, but Bulk anticipates it and goes for the discharge. Now in comes Azumarill. Azumarill in a dominant position as it will fire off this Ice Beam at the Altaria. Altaria going to get very little value as it gets one hit KO'd. Vish does have the Lantern. It is on Water Gun, which means it doesn't have the fast move pressure into the Azumarill that it typically would. But Water Gun will be a lot better against the Shadow Quagsire from Bulk that he has yet to reveal. Lantern, over-farming a massive amount of energy, will be able to pick up the knockout here with the Thunderbolt. Down goes the Azumarill. Oh, the Azumarill hangs on barely, but it is going to get Water Gun down. In comes the Quagsire. Quagsire able to knock out from this range with a Stone Edge. Surf is going to connect. Lantern continuing to farm, almost able to make the Surf, and forcing the Stone Edge from the Quag. Stone Edge picks up the knockout. In comes the Lickitung. Lickitung barely able to outpace the perfect overfarming there by one singular turn. Body Slam picks up the KO. In comes the Charjabug, and it does not get the move. Vish looks behind the entire game, but Lickitung clutches an impossible victory as he advances in the tournament. Our next matchup is Arceus Aurelius versus Magmarman, and Magmarman is bringing the spice, Whimsicott, Arctibax, and Shadow Magnezone on his team of 6. And he leads the Whimsicott into a Lickitung from Arceus Aurelius. Not a good spot to be if you're Magmarman. Magmarman is going to full send the Moonblast. The no shield by Arceus means this Lickitung is going to take substantial damage. It actually ends up being a charge attack priority tie. This Body Slam will inflict a ton of damage in return. He's going to save switch into Shadow Whiscash. Shadow Whiscash has a massive energy lead. Arceus sends in the Poliwrath after storing a bunch of energy on the Lickitung. Poliwrath down on energy here. It is the non-Shadow Poliwrath, which means a second Mud Bomb would not KO, but it would put him pretty low. We are going to see the shield from Arceus. Arceus going for the Icy Wind. Icy Wind not going to knock out. He's actually going for an undercharge. He wants the farm. That undercharge means that he is going to exit with quite a lot of energy here. He's hoping that Magmar is not going to be able to make yet another Mud Bomb, and Magmar will fall just short. This is awkward. Whimsicott would get knocked out by the Icy Wind. Is he forced to bring in the Arctibax? He sends in the Arctibax. Arctibax to be hit with a Scald. Scald is resisted, so Arctibax is going to let this go. He's saving 2 shields for Arctibax, and in the back is Registeel. The decision to save the shields, trusting in the fact that he wouldn't have fast move pressure in the back. And suddenly, against all odds, despite the fact this is an ice type against Registeel, this game looks like it might be winnable. He goes for the Zap Cannon debuff. He does get it, which means that this damage output from the Arctibax is now reduced. We see a switch out into the Whimsicott, and that will be answered with the Body Slam from the Lickitung. Body Slam is going to get the Whimsicott low. Whimsicott trying to make it to a last-second charge move, gets as low as possible, as it's going to be able to fire off the Seed Bomb. Seed Bomb barely does not KO, and both battlers stop tapping for a second. Neither wants to give each other farm. Eventually, Arceus picks up the KO, but here is the Arctibax winning charge attack priority, and this game looks like it's going to be a win. Arctibax flipping the script. We're going to see a desperation Zap Cannon. Can he get the debuff? No, he cannot, and Arctibax is going to be able to take the game. Arceus Aurelius just shaking his head as Arctibax flips the script and steals a win away from Registeel. This next match will be a fun one. Greenish versus Zzwelous. Zzwelous going anti-meta with Shadow Gyarados and Diggersby. And he's brought the Gyarados in this game 1 on the lead, and it's leading against the Shadow Feraligatr. The Shadow Claws do enough that a Hydro Cannon will KO from here, so Zzwelous will commit the shield, look to overfarm, and Aqua Tail 1 turn before that next Hydro Cannon is ready. Greenish with the shield. She's going to pivot out into the Skarmory here. In comes the Skeledirge, and this is not an amazing spot to be. We're going to see the Brave Bird be shielded up here. She did need to bait this out. She has the Annihilate lurking in the back, and we're going to see 100 energy on this Skeledirge, but in comes the Feraligatr. She banked the move. She wins charge attack priority, and 100 energy disappears in the blink of an eye. What a play by Greenish there. Oh my goodness. In comes the Annihilate. No shielding the Aqua Tail. Trying for the farm down, but the Shadow Gyarados barely hangs on and forces the final shield. Shadow Ball will hit for super effective damage versus Cresselia, but it does not one-hit KO. Cresselia is a very bulky Pokemon. Shadow Ball does not KO. The Grass Knot is reached. Unbelievable plays on both sides, but Zzwelous emerges victorious. The next match we'll be taking a look at is Rockhaven versus Rise to the occasion, losers semifinals of day number 1. And it's a disastrous lead for Rise. Talonflame versus Feraligatr. Save switches into Shadow Whiscash, and Shadow Whiscash is going to be immediately met with a Hydro Cannon. The no shield by Rise, that does massive damage. A switch out into Mandibuzz. Rise going to fire off the Scald. Fishing for that 30% debuff chance. The Scald does not get the debuff. Mandibuzz going to look to pick up the knockout here with a Dark Pulse, although an Aerial Ace probably could have KO'd as well. Back in comes the Talonflame for Rise. This Talonflame going to be in a bit of an awkward position, where a Fly will not KO from this range, but you really don't want to debuff yourself with a Brave Bird. Talonflame continuing to farm and going to be met with an Aerial Ace. Rise with a no shield. Rise going to go for the Fly. Fly, will it be enough to knock out here? Mana Buzz is extremely bulky. The Fly does not KO. It's a simultaneous switch for Alligator into Poliwrath. And Poliwrath is looking deadly because Rockhaven did not bring his Annihilate. Poliwrath just going to look for a full counter farm down. Does Poliwrath decide to double shield here? No. Letting the Hydro go as that does massive damage. But Rockhaven has 0 fast move pressure against this Pokemon. He's going to no shield, but Rise went for the Scald. It connects, dealing massive damage through 2 shields. Rockhaven now going to start to shield, but he's going to be shielding Icy Winds. And this is very difficult. As the Clodsire, such minimal fast move pressure, this is going to be a tough game to win. Stone Edge picks up the KO. In comes the Talonflame. Talonflame going for the Fly. Rockhaven needs a catch to win. Rockhaven throws 2, switches. The patience by Rise. He anticipates the catch, does not fall for it, and he's going to take a Game 1 win as Brave Bird KOs Clodsire. The final featured match will be Valorash versus PvP David. Valorash from the United States and PvP David hailing from Sweden. And it's a type neutral lead in this matchup. Whiscash for Valorash and the Goodra from PvP David. Whiscash, of course, with a pacing advantage, but Goodra able to consistently whittle away with significantly more fast move pressure. Mud Bomb is traded for Aqua Tail. We actually see a shield from Valorash as he is looking to protect this Whiscash and invest in the matchup. Mud Bomb no shielded by David. He knows he's going to be able to withstand this damage and make it to another Aqua Tail, as unfortunately for Whiscash, Mud Shots do not really add up in this matchup. Valorash unwilling to shield twice. Goodra not going to be able to get the farm down. We will see the shield as the Whiscash fires off its last second Mud Bomb. Goodra going to commit and barely gets that farm. In comes Cresselia. Cresselia going to be hit with the Aqua Tail. Aqua Tail, of course, not going to be doing much of anything. Goodra gets farmed down. With a Lantern in the back, he's forced to bring in Cresselia. But here's the thing. His Lantern is on Water Gun, and that's an Altaria as the third, which means David is going to be in a difficult position. They're going to be trading Moonblasts here. They are going to be hitting for some pretty decent damage. Neither trainer really looking to invest their final Protect Shield. Another Moonblast and another No Shield. David willing to tank this damage. Moonblast is going to connect, and that is going to put him, honestly, pretty low. Going for the Grass Knot as Moonblast would not be lethal. Grass Knot is going to connect. Valorash continuing to go for Moonblast, just trying to get as much damage as he possibly can. The Moonblast is going to land, gets the 10% attack drop, so now this Moonblast is going to hit less hard. We still see the shield from Valorash, but now it's David's turn. David gets the 10% debuff as well, and now, suddenly, against all odds, this might be a winnable endgame for the Water Gun Lantern. Water Gun Lantern is going to fire off the Thunderbolt, that's able to connect. Moonblast fired by Valorash, and David is going to no shield. No more debuffs here. David trying to get to the Thunderbolt, unable to get there before Altaria fires off the Sky Attack. The Sky Attack will be shielded. David gets the Thunderbolt. Thunderbolt is going to be doing significant damage to the Altaria. It will barely not KO. In comes the Cresselia, trying to make the move, but David with the back-breaking catch, catching it onto his own Cresselia, and he's going to be able to Water Gun down, exit with the Surf, KO the Altaria. Things got scary in the end game, but perfect energy awareness from David leads to a game win. All in all, the World Championships were an unbelievably fun experience. I was able to get to go there in person, and the environment and the atmosphere was incredible. I'm very excited because the 2025 Pokemon Go competitive season is starting up here just in a couple weeks with the first regional in Baltimore, and signups are actually open. So if you're in the Baltimore area and you are interested in signing up, or even just showing up as a spectator, it's worth looking into because these events are a tremendous amount of fun. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support guys provide is sincerely appreciated. So thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.